Hi, I'm Roger Bonds at physiciancareeradvisor.com. Thank you for taking time to learn more about how to take the next step in your medical career. In over 20 years, I've reviewed over 1,000 physician contracts in dozens of specialties from 50 states, DC, several U.S. territories, and even Canada. I also write or rewrite contracts for practices and hospitals. Now, I was just returned from Orlando, Florida, where we had several hundred physicians in the audience. And we talked about all aspects of their careers, but we also focused on the contracts. And boy, that was a riveting discussion to say the least, especially when we got to Q&A. But some of these contracts, let's face the facts, are incredibly bad. And that brings up my first point. You and I don't know who wrote your physician contract. And until we look into it carefully, it may be well written or it may be absolutely abusive. Now, about 15 to 20% of the contracts are written by experts who really know the employer and their needs and genuinely want it to be fair for all parties. We still have to make some select changes for the recruited physician, but let's give credit where it's due. There are plenty of very good contracts that just need to be fine-tuned. Or we could be at the other end of the spectrum, and it's written by someone who has every intention of, frankly, screwing you over every step of the way. And don't think I'm being too harsh. These videos are meant to deal with reality, not lay out a primrose path or a false sense of security. As a matter of fact, I was quoted in the American Medical News as saying thousands have been abused, and I meant it. In Chicago, a consulting firm told the senior physician at a large clinic that they had many years of experience with physician contracts, and actually they did. But what they failed to say was they wrote one-sided contracts to keep the newly recruited physician in line. After losing several new physicians, the clinic asked me to rewrite their contract. I'd have to say it was appalling. And I even felt it was so important to stand up for their physicians that later I told the firm how unprofessional I thought they were. And they didn't like it, and I doubt they've changed. But remember, the loss of the new physicians was a huge cost to the practice and a huge cost to the recruited physicians who left in frustration after making bad career moves. Now, I find about 15% of the contracts are abusive as that, but be careful. You may be talking to a strong medical practice who asks their CPA, business consultant, lawyer, or even their hospital to write up the contract, and it's their simple cut and paste job that someone maybe even charged them thousands of dollars for. Like the clinic in Chicago, the physicians in the practice, they don't know what a contract's supposed to say. So if you get a bad contract, don't throw it out too quickly. You may need to respond and tell them that you want them to work with you to make many changes. And if they don't want to make changes though and don't quickly understand that, maybe you need to move on to the next opportunity. You don't need to waste your time with them, and there are plenty of opportunities for physicians. Now, I have to even qualify that. What if you only want to go to a certain geographical area? Then you might have very few options, and then we have to work with them as best we can. Or another alternative is to rev up the engine to find other options in that area. You may be surprised what you find when we get aggressive on that front. The key is to be analytical about these contracts and not let your emotions take over. You have to think for yourself and trust yourself. If it sounds too good to be true, then take a step back and ask why. And if it sounds like you're being taken advantage of, then you might be right. And if you're not sure if all parts of the job and the contract are reasonable, be sure to ask for help. If you want to know more, like this video and subscribe. Go to physiciancareeradvisor.com and get my free newsletter. Find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Invite me to speak at your next national conference or grand rounds. My email is rBonds@physiciancareeradvisor.com, or call my office at 770-649-7150. My extension is 203. You have a tremendous future ahead of you. I'll see you next time.